2021 started, as all New Year's do, with renewed optimism, but it soon became clear we had a bad hangover from 2020.
Lockdown.
Stay at home.
Schools closed. Work from home.
Whilst there were plenty of reasons to be positive, the lingering effects of last year were more keenly felt than ever. We were still a long way from a return to normal. But all I can do is control how I react to the events around me. This year, I didn't make any New Year's resolutions. However, my personal trainer Murray threw down the gauntlet.
So here comes the challenge.
I want you to walk 300,000 steps in 31 days, at least.
Challenge number 2. Fitness challenge of choice. Now this can be anything. It could be running a 5K for time, or it could be something cool, like climbing Ben Nevis. No processed food. No alcohol for 31 days.
To be honest, I needed something to focus on. The majority of my work projects had been cancelled. I was homeschooling Jack 2 days a week. As it turned out, I needed it far more than I realised. I've always been a cat lover. It says on my online profile, has a love of cats, football, chocolate, and film noir in that order. For the last 7.5 years, I've had a really special connection with our rescue cat Billy. He lives indoors because he has FIV, the feline equivalent of HIV. Throughout my whole life, I've always lived with cats, but Billy is different. He latched on to me in a way that no other cat ever has, and he spends his whole time with me. On January the 1st, I noticed he wasn't well. A trip to the vet confirmed that a biopsy taken in December was cancerous, and the outcome looked bleak. For 2 weeks in January, I watched him go downhill until the writing was on the wall. Kirsty has just taken Billy to the vet, and that's going to be the last time I ever see him. I really don't know what to do with myself. So I'm going to go and walk. I spent the next 2 hours walking around the kitchen. All the renewed optimism I had for the year seemed to have vanished by Monday the 18th of January, the bluest of blue Mondays. And the only way I could process this was to literally keep moving. Suddenly, my steps challenge for the month became really important to me. I was one of 18 people taking part in the ominously titled 300,000 Do It or Die challenge. The events of the past week meant that my step count was down and I had work to do. But when my 2 boys turned round and said,
"I want you to win it, Daddy. Do it for Billy."
well, how much more motivation do you need? By the middle of the month, I was in second place on the Steps Challenge leaderboard, having done 253,000 steps. Whilst I was close to completing the 300,000 target, this now became all about winning, and I needed to up my game. Every day would now include at least 3 hours of jogging around the house. Gotta get those steps in. An hour first thing in the morning, half an hour at lunch, and 90 minutes in the evening. I tried to use the faint sound of my feet padding on the floor to soothe my boys to sleep. TV was out for the month, but a 90-minute football match meant I could probably squeeze in a solid 12,000 extra steps. On top of this, I used any and every excuse to go walking outside.
Just come out for a wee walk in the snow.
On days when I didn't get outside, I also ran a gentle 10 kilometres on the treadmill. Every Sunday included a longer run of 13 miles. The aim was to hit my minimum target of 30,000 steps a day. By the 20th of January, I'd done 360,000 steps. I was still in second place, but the gap to the leader was narrow. 3 consecutive days of nearly 40,000 steps a day followed. I finally claimed the top spot on the leaderboard, and I wasn't about to let it slip. But any satisfaction I had about claiming the lead was totally marred by a moment where I questioned what the hell I was actually doing. This does seem utterly ridiculous now. I'm jogging around my house for 4 hours a day. I've already passed 300,000 steps. I'm competing against 17 other people I've never even met. Nobody cares, and I'm doing this all to try and make my kids happy. Over the following days, I consolidated my lead by doing a ludicrous amount of running around my house. Going into the final few days, it looked like victory was secure. Okay, so today is the final day of the Steps Challenge. At the moment, I am in the lead. I have done 665,000 steps for the month, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. The guy in second place is about 60,000 steps behind me, so it looks like I'm going to win the challenge, so that is great. But as part of this January challenge, there were two main aims. The first one was to get past 300,000 steps. I've done that, smashed that, it's looking good. And the second part of the challenge was to undertake your own personal challenge. I came up with the idea last week that to finish this challenge with a flourish, I should go downstairs and run a marathon. I've only ever run one marathon in the past, and whilst I completed it in just over 3.5 hours, it didn't quite go to plan. My legs are totally gone. I wasn't quite sure what made me think running another marathon would be a good idea, especially in light of the miles I'd already clocked up this month. But today's marathon would be run slower, and if everything went to plan, I should finish it in just over 4 hours. 32 kilometers or 20 miles, 6.2 miles to go, 10k. I'm doing fine. January 2021 has been a gentle reminder that sometimes, despite your best intentions, life has a way of stopping you in your tracks. My current situation is similar to many others, and there are people who've been going through far tougher times than me. But January hit me hard. My route out of this was to move, literally. To put one foot in front of another and progress forward, both physically and metaphorically. Having something to aim for was a saving grace and allowed me to focus my attention on what I wanted to achieve. The competition helped drive me on as well, especially as I'm just a wee bit competitive. 26.2 miles done in 4 hours, 6 minutes. It's never really about the time today, just chunking it out, getting it done. I am very pleased that that is over. The marathon run pushed me over 700,000 steps for the month, confirming my place as the winner of the Steps Challenge. I also completed the challenge of surviving January without alcohol, largely due to the fact that I don't really drink anymore. As for only eating whole foods, I failed that miserably. Quite frankly, I couldn't face January without pizza. But hey, you win some, you lose some.